Martha, Schema App is something that businesses of all sizes should be using. Many are already using it. What's the secret sauce to making companies stand out online?
Really, it's about architecting content to make sure that you're speaking to both your users and to search engines. And, we all experience search, right? We search for, how do you say this thing? Or how do I cook that thing? And there's this way that you can actually really stand out, literally stand out. So when you see stars or price information or FAQs or a video that's playing there that you just click right on it, all of that actually can be created by just being thoughtful about what you're putting on your page and then putting code called structured data on the page so that Google rewards you that amazing experience.
Is there some best practices that everybody should be following? Or is there something or algorithmically that you're constantly updating with Schema App?
Well, Google actually tells you what to do. You just have to it's sort of read the instructions, right? Everyone talks about.
No one does.
No one does, right? So Google actually has a whole list of things that's if you do these things, you will stand out in search. And by the way, we'll also tell you how to measure it. And so follow the instructions, right? If you have articles on your page, if you have videos, if you have FAQs, if you're talking about anything that you want people found, then architect, an FAQ with it so that you, bam, stand out. And you're not paying per click, right? This is the big difference. In AdWords, you have to pay per click. This is something you can architect into everything and then stand out and get those clicks day after day after day.
One thing I've always been skeptical about is SEO. When it's been pitched to my organizations, the different marketing teams I've had over the years, I've never really been able to identify solid results and real ROI. How do you address that challenge with Schema App?
Well, at Schema App, because we focus on this super, super niche area called structured data, we have to be able to say, if we implement this, can we measure it? And within Google, they have in their Google Search Console, they actually have performance reports. And they're saying, these are the impressions, how many times your URL shows up. And these are the clicks that come specifically from these decorated results. So you work with Schema App. We basically optimize everything on your site. We work with your team to make sure your content's great. Then I go to Search Console and I'm great, here's all the clicks. You want to put a dollar value on it? Tell me what you pay for ad spend. And all of a sudden I can show you the ROI. Not all areas of SEO are like that, but you still have to do that foundational SEO for also structured data to really perform. So web vitals, speed tests, good quality content.
And so that's part of what you're doing as well. It's sort of a consultative type upfront to get sites organized with the right structured data in order to be able to take advantage of Schema App.
That's right. So we talk about the whole journey, right? So it's sort of you start with strategy. So during our sales process, we talk about what are you actually trying to achieve? What are your goals? What are your customers trying to find? And then we also ask, well, where does that show up on your website? And often we discover that they're trying to sell all these things, but it's not super clear what one page Google should be pointing users to in order to answer that question or to meet that specific need. Right. So we'll work with them sort of to say, okay, well, these ones are ready. And then we say which ones are actually eligible for those rich results. Now, those rich results are what are on that long list that Google tells you to do. And so we'll work with them to say well, where's your website today? Let's start the engagement there. And when you have a perfect mix at our business of both solution, expert support, and then measuring results, it's really when all those things come together, no one questions that we're, snake oil salespeople because we're showing hard business value.
I think that one of the things that's most interesting about Schema App is that you've bootstrapped it. You're up to 30 people now. I mean, we're so used to that VC treadmill and tech startups having some element of financing. What would you say to founders about the avenue, the path you took versus what people normally take?
Well, I like being my own boss, right? And I think we glamorize sometimes the whole VC path. Right. But as soon as you do that, you're not your own boss anymore. And you can create your own pressure to grow and to get those things done. And I always joke, go for the sale, right? And I'm a sales CEO. I'm the kind of person who a VC pitches to me. I was great, is your portfolio doing this?
Right.
Do you want them to grow faster?
How about you become a customer? Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you buy from me and we'll see if that relationship
right.
works. And it sometimes works, right? And so I think that's, for me, it takes more guts and you have to sell early, right? So you have to, you have to sell your product early. So get out there, get those first sales, get those logos. Because once you get those logos, I think it just builds your confidence. When SAP bought from us, when King Footwear bought from us.
Yeah, that flywheel starts turning.
Absolutely, right? And then all of a sudden you're well, do I need, I want to move faster, but then it's, and then it becomes what are your goals, right? And I like being a Canadian-owned niche software company led by women. It's awesome.
What do you think people should do at those moments when they first start up and they're trying to pitch that first customer and they're getting a whole bunch of no's? How did you come across that chasm?
You just got to keep asking, right? Like, I think it's like cold calling, right? You have to like just keep calling until someone will buy something from you. And like the price actually doesn't matter. I think one of my favorite stories is like an enterprise had called us. They're like, we're not really sure what you do, but we think you do structured data at scale. This is like a large US company that was then bought by an Asian company. And I was like, they're like, how much does it cost? And I knew I had rent coming up next month that I didn't know how I was going to pay for. So I just gave them that number in US dollars.
Amazing.
And they went for it, right? And then like you have to refine that and have logic and defend it. But you just got to keep throwing it and listen to your customers. When they say no, ask them why. Right. Or like, what would make you say yes? What would make you want to try it?
Why do you think everyone has not got their house in order with respect to structured data?
Because it's complicated. So like the data says like 30% of websites globally are using structured data, and it's complicated, right? It takes an SEO strategist to convince their boss to invest in it, to find a developer that it's a unicorn that understands both like marketing as well as JSON LD, an organization that's willing to like put some structure and sort of like some thought into how they're doing content. Like the reason we exist is because we solve all that complexity and we just get them results. So like a small SEO team that wants to have a big impact, or, like with people, the great resignation, I see that as opportunity. Great, your SEO team's smaller, hire me, like I'll get you results. And, by the way, you'll have more time with your IT team so that you don't need to work with them.